speak to you today because we are the Global Leaders Forum, and as a matter of fact, here you are the global leaders because Korea is now leading the way in science and technology in almost every area of human development. So for me, it's a great honor to be here. 시작합니다. So our company is on the verge of converging artificial intelligence with bioinformatics, drug discovery, and longevity research to produce new drugs and new therapies to extend healthy longevity significantly. So our core mission is to make you younger and healthier and actually performing better. But our company is pursuing a salami technique. You know, you have one big vision, but you have small slices that you can publish and produce to stay on the verge of credible. So we are located in Baltimore, in the USA, at the campus of the Johns Hopkins University, their biopark, the emerging technology centers. But we are global. We have resources in many countries. And I am affiliated with Insilico. I'm the CEO, but I also have a lot of nonprofit projects. I started about 15 years ago going into aging research. Before I used to work in a computer science company, the IT company called ATI. Made a lot of money working there, and then decided to spend all of that on aging research because I think that it's the most important cause that humanity is facing right now. And before going into commercial biotechnology, we developed a lot of nonprofit tools. Some of them are present here at the bottom. We look at government grants, so we look at how government spends the money into research projects related to biomedicine, so not specifically into aging. But as you know, investments in cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and other diseases do contribute to the rate of progress in aging. And we also develop many other tools to track the developments in aging worldwide. So think of us as an umbrella company looking at many, many, many areas of aging research. And my core affiliation is with Insilico Medicine, which is a big data-driven company, which unites all this knowledge into 4 core areas that are converging. So artificial intelligence, drug discovery, big omics data, so it's really big repositories of biological data, all geared towards longevity research. And aging is humanity's biggest problem. Again, what do these candidates have in common? I mean, you probably haven't expected Trump to win, right? But, and there are huge differences between those 2 candidates. So one major common thing that they share is their age. So Trump is 70, well, 69 turning 70, and Hillary is 70. And the voter demographics is changing currently everywhere in the world. So people are preferring older candidates, and older people are voting. So also Brexit. You've heard about the UK exiting the European Union, which it took multiple nations and multiple global leaders many years to create. Now they're destroying it. Why? Because the demographics are changing. So younger people are looking more into the future, and older people are looking more into the past. And you have to think about how this changing demographics is going to affect Korea. Maybe surprisingly, you know, some people in the north decide to actually unite, and you have a referendum and say no. That would be a major surprise, right? We want to avoid that. This graph is very messy, but it shows you the population growth over time worldwide. And you can see some of the key technological trends and discoveries mapped over time. So it took us 400 years for the population to double from 500 million to 1 billion, then another 160 years for it to double again from 1 billion to 2 billion, and 60 years for it to more than triple to 7.5 billion. It's a huge increase unexpected increase. You know, it's basically, you can think about Korean economic growth since the 80s. It kind of resembles this chart. So very recent advances. Humanity has tripled in numbers. And most of the biomedical advances also happened in those 60 years. And it takes much longer for us to get the technology, anti-aging technology and biomedical technology on the market than it takes us to get an IT product. You know, Samsung or LG may create a cell phone and put it on the market in 1 year. For us to get the drug on the market, it takes more than 10 years, and we've got 92% failure rate. So it's a much slower pace, but all of those advances are going to propagate in the clinic, and you are going to see people living even longer. So regardless of what we do today in the labs, you are going to be living longer than your parents and grandparents already. And you can see that there is another trend, this small curve right here. Oops. This small, it's not visible here. It's the small curve right here on the bottom shows you the population over 65. It's a new phenomenon for the humanity. It's something that we have never seen before. Previously in Germany, the social security system was designed in 1887. Otto von Bismarck set the retirement age at 65, when less than 1% of the population really achieved this age and enjoyed social security. Nowadays, everybody is enjoying this. So this creates a huge burden for the economy, for any world's economy, and specifically for the US, because it's kind of the breathing and living heart of the global economy. There, the population is also aging, and the costs associated with medical care for the population are huge. And they are putting a lot of burden and slowing down the growth of the economy. So in fact, in a very debt-laden economy, where countries with older populations already accumulated enormous government debts, that could lead to economic collapse. And one of my hobbies is economics, so I published a book called The Ageless Generation, How Advances in Biomedicine are going to change the global economy, and it was translated into Chinese and Japanese, which shows that right now we are at the point of human evolution where we can either accelerate research and make people younger, or we can have a possible economic collapse. Also, aging research is the most egoistic cause that humanity can pursue right now. All of us want to be good, right? But how do you quantify good? How do you put a number on how good you are? So this number can be derived from quality-adjusted life years that you generate. How many good years you're giving to everybody on the planet. And if you cure cancer, you are probably going to get about 20 billion QALYs, so basically quality-adjusted life years for everybody on the planet. That's not much, because not everybody gets cancer, and usually you get it in the older years. But if you add just one additional year to everybody's life in the population, in the global population, you create 7.6 billion QALYs right now. And you can be the ultimate altruist by basically marginally extending everybody's life on the planet. Also, it's the most pressing economic challenge. You can think about global warming, you can think about alternative energy. Those causes can be addressed later. Right now, we need to really address aging, because we do have maybe another 10, 15, 20 years for the global economy to sustain before we get buried under the economic burden of aging population. And also, but the good news is that right now we are getting all the tools together. I'm not going to go too much into detail into the slide, but over the past 10 years we saw a major revolution, and actually 5 major revolutions. In biomarkers of aging, so now you have very accurate tools to be able to measure the rate of aging. And my team created 2 of those tools. So we have the transcriptomic aging clock and the biochemistry aging clock. I'm going to talk about that. So you can actually measure the effectiveness of the interventions that you are doing, that you are taking as therapies for anti-aging. There is also major advances in cancer immunotherapy. So, melanoma patients that respond to that therapy go home cured, so complete miracles. And right now, every big pharma company has a checkpoint inhibitor in their portfolio. Those are drugs that essentially make cancer cells look like foreign cells, again, to your own immune system. So your own immune system starts eating those cancers quickly. So again, this is major revolutions just past 10 years. Gene editing, Bill already, I think, touched on this a little bit. So now you have the ability to redesign your genome. There are major advances in regenerative medicine, new artificial organs, induced pluripotent stem cells, and you can also reprogram yourself already in your body. And the revolution that I'm going to be talking about is in deep learning, is artificial intelligence. So some of those concepts that have been proposed many decades ago are now coming to life with the availability of big data. And also, aging is much more complex than any other disease. It's a combination of many, many factors. And here you have just some few hallmarks of aging. And Bill talked about telomere attrition as one of the factors. But there are many, many other factors that make us older. And you have to address all of them. No one single person can comprehend that intelligently. So that's why we need artificial intelligence systems to really help us solve aging. And now, just 10 years ago, it would have been a really nice promise. And you probably would say, oh, this is a futurist. He's talking about something that doesn't come to life anytime soon. Well, now you've seen the Korean Go champion, Lee Sedol, being defeated by one of those deep learned systems that identified and went through billions of combinations very, very quickly to identify the optimal strategy. So as I've mentioned, right now there is a revolution in deep learning. So it's an area, a branch of machine learning that is kind of biologically inspired, where we're trying to model as much as possible biological systems in a computer. So you've got multiple small neurons. We essentially are recreating the neurons as algorithms in high-performance computing space and putting them into layers, pretty much like the human brain. So you've got the visual layer, the input layer, that takes in a lot of information, and then it passes it through multiple layers of neurons, cortex 1, cortex 2, cortex 3, just like the human brain does. And then you get some output. And you train those networks with a lot of data to recognize all kinds of patterns. This is how we learn. Most of those techniques can now be implemented in algorithms. But what's important here is that the advances made in deep learning over the past just 5 years have been spectacular, unprecedented. So we surpassed human-level accuracy in image recognition, text recognition, voice recognition just this year. All of those Tesla and Google cars are autonomous driving are using deep learning. Now you can also create pleasant art, compose pleasant music, and defeat the Go champion. And all that started, well, with the ImageNet, a very large competition for images. A large number of high-resolution images were put online, and people were asked to compete to classify those images. And below, you've got a chart basically showing the error rates in this competition. So in 2010, it was almost 30%. 2015, just last year, computers surpassed human accuracy in image recognition. And that's what I'm talking about when we're talking about image recognition and also describing that in context. This is the work of Andrej Karpathy from Stanford. He now works for OpenAI. Now you can recognize the object and also put it in the context. So it's a woman in white dress standing with a tennis racket, two people in green behind her. This system describes the image better than I can. Also, this is, we consider it to be already old school, where you take a convolutional neural net to identify objects on the picture, and then a recurrent neural net to generate language. And in this case, you give it a picture, and it accurately describes, the system accurately describes the picture. So in this case, it's a group of people shopping at an outdoor market, or a group of young people playing a game of frisbee. Very accurate descriptions. Now you can also do style transfer, so train the network painter's style, make it a 2-bit doodle painting, and then create your own 2-bit doodle painting, and it will create pleasant art. You can take a picture, give it to the network, it will create pleasant art. And I'm going to skip this slide, but I just wanted to show you that we can also have deep neural networks trained on large numbers of images to imagine new images on demand. So basically, you give a network a description. So this small bird has a pink breast and crown and black primaries and secondaries, and it will imagine new images. It will not Google it. It will imagine those. This is the hottest topic in deep learning right now, and also it's very new. So Reed just published it in ICML in June. So our company is using the same technique to imagine new molecular structures. So we're not only searching already existing molecules, we're teaching networks to create new molecules upon demand. So let's say we want a cancer drug that goes into the brain and cures cancer, and creates it. So just a moment of fun, Microsoft created a really cool tool where you can take a snapshot of your face and it will guess your age reasonably accurately. It's not ours, it's Microsoft's. And I recently gave a talk at a big conference in France, at an actuarial conference. Those people are dealing with a lot of big data. And I Googled their recent conference, gave it to how old, and it guessed accurately, more or less accurately, everybody's age. So you can try it yourself. And this gentleman is the head of actuarial school. When I first met him, I thought that he is 55, just because of the context and his position. But he's actually 37. So this system guessed his age even more accurately than I could. So what we decided to do, a lot of what we do is inspired by advances in imaging, voice, and text, but we apply those recent developments to biological data. And we created a tool called Aging AI, where you can upload some of your recent parameters from a recent blood test, very simple and cheap blood test that you get from your doctor, and it will guess your age. And sometimes it guesses it right, sometimes it guesses it wrong. Actually, for the Asian population, it doesn't work that well yet because we didn't have a large training set. And we published a paper in a very prestigious journal in aging, where we show that we can now accurately predict your age and gender by your blood test, using the very same technique that Microsoft is using for recognizing your age using your facial data. And this is how the deep neural network ensemble looks like. So we take a very large number of samples. I'm not going to go through it. We took 1.1 million people, selected only 62,000 healthy ones, and then trained a very large number of single-class deep neural nets to recognize their age. And now we recognize their age with 5.5 mean absolute error. So basically, every time we guess, we are, on average, 5.5 years away from the actual parameters. But what is interesting about this test is that if you look older to the network, most likely you are sick or aging faster if it's doing it consistently. And then you can test the effectiveness of all kinds of interventions to see if you start looking younger to the network. And we are also one of the first companies to apply artificial intelligence to develop new nutraceuticals, so small molecules that you can actually sell over the counter without going through clinical trials because they are derived from nature. And with life extension, with a company in the US that has a huge subscriber base, more than 350,000 people subscribe to their catalogs, we're going to launch a new pill that hopefully will make you younger. And that is one of the very few companies that also allow you to do blood testing. So you would be able to see if the pill works. So we are one of the first companies to make a prediction in silico and put it in a human. We also run a competition for data scientists now, similar to ImageNet, where we give out biological data to computer scientists to create new algorithms to guess your age, develop better aging biomarkers, develop better skin aging biomarkers. So just recently we had a hackathon. So everybody I hire in my company, almost everybody, come through competitions. I don't care whether they have a Harvard degree or MIT or Moscow State University. If they win a 48-hour competition, they can work for me. So I really like to work with champions in data science. And we create competitions online for people to participate to cure aging. Also, moment of fun, just about a year ago, well, 2 years ago, almost, so a year and 8 months ago, I presented to a large cosmetics company in Paris, a very large one. And I said, oh, we've got those aging markers, and we've got those geroprotectors, we've got those drugs. And they're saying, Alex, you know what, this is not interesting. What we're interested in is how you look and how you can measure the appearance of the person in time. And we decided to build a tool called Wrinkle, which tracks dynamically how your wrinkles forms over time with a small mobile app. And afterward, we also moved to create another competition where robots and humans compete to recognize human beauty and to evaluate human perception using various techniques. Nowadays, we've got participants from all over the world giving us ideas on how you can measure beauty. So that's the first beauty competition that is judged by robots. Again, artificial intelligence is entering into almost every area of life. In biomedicine, it's a little bit slower, but it's currently getting more and more popular. So we are presenting at many conferences worldwide, and we also run our own aging forum in Basel, in Switzerland, every year. This year, next year is going to be our 4th annual. We run it with large pharmaceutical companies, and it's free to attend, so please come and participate. And please use any of our resources that are listed here online, or you can contact me if you have any questions. And again, for me, it's a great honor to be in Korea. I hope that you become the first country to really tackle aging seriously and find ways to rejuvenate yourself, because you are a great country, great nation, and we really need to have those hard-working people with this great culture of innovation and hard work to stay in the labor force, be younger, and be rewarded for what you did. Because right now, I use maybe half of the electronics I use come from Korea. So, 감사합니다, and thank you very much. Live long and prosper.